Aloha. Talopalava. Mabuhay. It is such a beautiful sight and an amazing feeling to be here to join all of you on this special night. We have people here from all different backgrounds, different races, ethnicities, places we grew up, experiences that we had, all of us coming together, united by our love of this great country. We are united by our love for each other as fellow Americans. We see each other as children of God and recognize that as we come together, we may disagree on some things, but we appreciate our fundamental God-given rights and freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution and Bill of Rights. This is why we stand here together tonight, 12 days before the most historic and important election of our lives, united for change. There is a very clear choice in this election. I am doing all that I can to help elect President Trump because there is nothing short of our freedom and our future on the line. We've seen some of the most egregious and brazen abuses of power coming from the Harris-Biden administration than we've ever seen in our country, certainly in my lifetime. To see a person in Kamala Harris who is telling the American people that she believes in free speech, that her campaign is about freedom, and yet fundamentally she does not believe in our right to free speech. She doesn't believe in our right to gather in places like this and express ourselves. She doesn't believe in our right that is fundamental to the First Amendment to criticize our own government. We saw just recently in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene's disaster wreaked on the people of Western North Carolina and 5 other states. Those of us had some things to say on behalf of our fellow Americans about how they have been failed by our government during their most dire time of need. And if you listen to the White House, if you listen to Joe Biden and you listen to Kamala Harris, they criticized us and called us dangerous for spreading misinformation. That is what is at the core of what I view as the dangerous threat to our freedom and our democracy, because it's in dictatorships and authoritarian governments where those in power view those who criticize them as dangerous. There is no one they have targeted more than President Donald J. Trump. And there's a reason for that. Because they recognize that he doesn't bend the knee or kiss the ring in the establishment of Washington, D.C. They recognize that he brings the voices of the people of this country who are frustrated and sick and tired of being forgotten and left behind by those in power. They recognize that President Trump is the only Republican who has had the courage to stand up to the Uniparty of war in Washington and state over and over his commitment for peace. This is why they're throwing everything they possibly can at him and why they see him as the greatest threat. We see how they try to silence and censor those of us who dare to criticize them, saying that we are spreading misinformation or disinformation and therefore must be censored. How can we trust a person to uphold her oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States who does not believe in the First Amendment? We can't. Exactly. How can we trust a person to uphold her oath to the Constitution who doesn't believe in the Second Amendment and our right to protect our loved ones? How do we trust someone in the presidency to uphold the rule of law when over the last 4 years, Kamala Harris has allowed open borders and 20 million plus people in who their very first act was to break our laws. We cannot allow ourselves or our friends to fall for the lies and the propaganda. She's working hand in glove with the mainstream media and big tech, doing all that they can to erase the past and try to make us believe that this new picture is somehow true. They're so afraid, and they're doing all of this because they see that a free people in a free country are the greatest threat to their power. That's us. We must be vigilant. We the people is a call to action. We need to save our country, and President Trump needs every one of us to stand with him in making that possible. This is a no-fail mission we have before us. Yes, your vote is critical, but you got to bring 10 people with you to make sure that our voices are heard in the swamps of Washington and that Donald Trump goes back to the White House to make America great again and start to clean that house. Now, President Trump said something last night when we were in Georgia that really struck a chord with me. He told the people there in Georgia that what he has built and what he is leading is a movement of love. Love for our country, love for our freedom, love for the American people, and the promise of getting us back towards a path of peace, freedom, and prosperity. This is why I'm supporting President Trump, and this is why we need to send him back to the White House. So I want you to join me right now, sharing all of the aloha that is in your heart, and welcome the 47th President to the United States here on stage right now.